of the country to the other, and it's going to help New York recover a lot more quickly, both financially and psychologically. I'm waiting for Hillary. Did you get Hillary? Okay.
Why were they able to pass both these out today much more quickly than anticipated?
We were able to pass them out because people understood the emergency, and even though people might have had differences with language here and there, everyone pulled together. Both resolutions indicated that. Senator Byrd did an incredible job. Senator Daschle did an incredible job, and Speaker Hastert.
Charles Schumer telling that the Senate passing an emergency appropriations bill 96-0, but what is being debated now in the Senate is a use of force bill. As soon as there's any resolution on that, we'll get back to you. But Senator Schumer basically saying the president says, I will help you, and didn't even bat an eye when the senator said we need $20 billion more than the additional, what is in the original supplemental bill.
Any other questions?
Did the president actually constitutionally meet this authority, and if not, is this more of a symbolic move today to pass this authorization of use force?
On the use of force, I would defer to. I think that it shows that we're united. It makes it clear legally that he can do it. Again, there was compromise in all sorts of different ways than one never thought, and it shows America's united. If we stay resolute and we united, we will win the war on terrorism. If we don't, we fail. And today's message on both resolutions is unity.
Senator, how long can this unity and bipartisanship last when Congress eventually turns to other issues?
Let's hope it lasts for an extremely long time.
Senator, how confident are you in the markets actually beginning to trade Monday without interruption?
I've been speaking to people in the markets. I think they will trade Monday. I think the Federal Reserve and all of the banking authorities are prepared to go to bat. The companies are looking at their stocks and have reserves on hand. So I think that the markets will open and will open well.
Senator, were you at all concerned that they gave the president too broad power
I thought the initial resolution was too broad. I thought the way it was honed down by Senators Biden and Levin and Kerry made me feel much more comfortable, because it does involve the War Powers Act.
Are you talking specifically about the decision to take out the language on preemptive strikes?
I think the language on future engagements bothered us very much. I'm now being joined by my colleague, Senator Clinton. We worked as a team on this. We worked day in, day out. We've hardly slept. I was filibustering so you could get here. And it's just a great victory for New York, as I mentioned, and let me turn it over to my partner and New York's, and half of the team for New York, Senator Clinton.
And it's a tired but very happy team right now. We are very grateful. First, to the people of New York, and particularly to the governor and the mayor, for giving us the first-hand view and briefing about what the dimensions of this devastation were and the human cost and financial cost that rescue and recovery and rebuilding will entail. I also want particularly to thank our leadership in both houses, on both sides of the aisle, who really came through in recognizing the urgent necessity of beginning to put the dollars out there that will make clear we are going to fund whatever it takes to recover. And I particularly want to thank the President and the staff of the White House, the OMB, who understood our request when Chuck and I were in the Oval Office yesterday and asked the President for an additional $20 billion. He immediately agreed. And it meant a great deal to us and to the people of New York. So we're very grateful today.
Thank you.
This has been an historic day in what has been obviously quite an historic week. Once again, the Senate has pulled together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans, responding to a crisis in a way that Americans expect. I am very appreciative of the magnitude of our responsibility and very gratified with the response the Senate has again shown this morning. The Senate has passed an extraordinary response to the disaster, providing the President with ability now to move forward in healing this nation, providing him with the resources to do so and with the moral support that is evidenced in a unanimous vote. The President has also made it clear worldwide that it is our intention to seek out and to punish those responsible for their acts. We have now passed a resolution that will accommodate his desire to do so and keep ever so cognizant our responsibilities under the Constitution as equal partners as we pursue these goals. I applaud the President's actions, and on behalf of the Democratic caucus, support his efforts to do all that he can to achieve that important goal. So the Senate has spoken, and again, as has been the case all week long, we have said that we stand shoulder to shoulder, literally and figuratively, in our effort to do the right thing. My partner in this effort, standing as we have, shoulder to shoulder, is on my right, and I must say, we could not have accomplished all that we have without his remarkable leadership, and I thank him publicly once again for his efforts this week.
Thank you, Senator Daschle, for your comments and for your leadership. I believe this is another historic day in the Senate. The Senate has acted in an aggressive and an appropriate way to pass this legislation quickly that would support the President, to give him the funding authority that he needs and the funds that he needs for humanitarian efforts, for cleanup, for disaster assistance, so much that's going to have to be done in the aftermath of what we have seen this past week in New York City and in Virginia and in Pennsylvania. We also are taking specific action to provide the President the authority he needs, as Senator Daschle said, to punish those that are responsible for these acts. We could quibble for days or for weeks. We could argue the legalisms. We could parse over every word. But the Senate, united like I have never seen it before, chose not to do that. The American people expect us to act. They expect us to be a team as an American country to deal with this problem. And we are doing that. The President is providing the right leadership. We are doing our part in that partnership. And I believe we're going to see results from these actions. So I'm pleased to be here with Senator Daschle to announce these results. I thank Senator Daschle, the Democratic Conference, and the Republican Conference for the way they have acted today. It's very impressive.
Can you tell us how the investigation is going and whether the United States is getting any closer to pinpointing what they need to do and how they need to do it?
I certainly am not in a position to give you an authoritative review of the investigation. I am confident, given the briefings we've been provided throughout the week, that the investigation has been at least partially successful in the very short time under which it's been underway. I do believe that just over the last 24 hours with the incident in New York, we've seen how responsive and how quick to act our authorities can be and will be, but I can't give you any definitive appreciation of where the investigation is.
Let me just say that obviously a lot of work is underway in our transportation system with FBI, I'm sure with the Central Intelligence Agency, all appropriate government agencies there. It's underway. I think we need to understand that this is a situation that may not allow us to take action in a matter of hours. Hopefully we can get some early determinations of who and was involved and how this came about and be able to take actions. But this is an action, a war, if you will, that will probably take time. We cannot just take out a single plane. We must sink the carrier of the enemy, this time a terrorist enemy that is worldwide and more difficult to identify and to take action against than anything else we've done before. So while we're determined, we want as quick as action as possible. We must be aware that this is going to be a tough fight.
You said that the
portion of the ultimate cost of this disaster, $40 billion, represents? Do you view it as simply a, quote, down payment or something?
I think it's too early to tell what the magnitude is. Nobody has an assessment. We know that it exceeds any devastation we've experienced to date throughout history. I believe that most of us...
At a time when Majority Leader Daschle and Minority Leader Lott are engaging in a rare show of unity, you're beginning to see many of the folks who are beginning to line up outside a wet National Cathedral in Washington, where a prayer vigil will be held starting about an hour from now. We will be covering that live. The President will be in attendance. In addition to the President, his father, the former President, will also be there, as well as President Carter and President Ford and many, many members of Congress. The two Senators Daschle and Lott praising their colleagues for passing a $40 billion appropriations bill. Senator Clinton and Senator Schumer saying they give President Bush a great deal of credit for agreeing to an additional $20 billion, which makes up that $40 billion amount. And I have just been told the Senate has just passed someone, you have to tell me, a use of force resolution now on the floor of the Senate. So there is a lot going on. That vote, too, by a 96 to 98 to 0 margin. Lots to tell you about on the New York front. The mayor of New York saying that in spite of the nasty weather, the cleanup and recovery efforts continue. Some 10,400 tons of debris having been removed. Other sources confirming that at least 20% of lower Manhattan office space damaged or destroyed. Everyone in the city being very honest about what the rescue workers are up against here. This rain has not helped. It's made an incredibly dangerous situation for the rescue workers in there. It's made it harder for them to get into the area. We heard one story, which I think we can confirm now, that some of the rescuers had to dig through 20 feet of rubble just to find the top of a fire engine today. There is still hope that they might be able to find people alive. The mayor confirming yesterday that one of the firefighters rescued was originally believed to have been buried in the rubble the first day. That is not the case. He, in fact, was injured yesterday in the middle of his rescue efforts. The mayor saying all schools are open today with the exceptions of the schools that are south of 14th Street. The Senator Schumer confirming he fully expects the markets to be open, the major markets, on Monday. Got a lot of political officials talking to us today. The mayor telling us earlier on that they plan to open up a southern artery, for those of you who know New York geography, to get down to Wall Street. And he's encouraging businesses to send people over the weekend to try to clean up some of the adjoining buildings so people can actually go back to work on Monday. It's very difficult to get to that part of the city because the main artery going south is just clogged as a staging area for these rescue efforts. To put a human face on all this, I'm going to rejoin William McCarthy, whose brother Michael is missing. He was on the 91st floor of the first tower hit.
Correct, where the first plane hit.
And you have gone to his company. For those of you who didn't hear the first part of this interview, you're not too hopeful at this moment that he survived.
Well, at this point, actually, I'm with my mother and my father and the wonderful people in my neighborhood, actually, that I've been calling, and they've been stopping by and offering just words of encouragement or just feelings of sympathy. And I think actually that, I mean, last night we were kind of sitting around the table all talking about Mike and just sharing, like, you know, our feelings about him. And he truly was a Renaissance man. I mean, he was extremely intelligent. He was 6'3", 220 pounds. He played Division I football. He was gregarious in his love of life, and he worked hard. He played hard. And there's thousands of stories to be shared, but one of the things that I loved about Mike most is that his name was Michael Desmond McCarthy, and we kind of joked around and said he was two different people.